It is Sunday morning here in Tampa. It's nice and overcast. I'm with my co-host Hercules, who's eating leaves or fucking plant particulates. What are we doing over here, nerd? Was in a bath yesterday. We're in a locked and abandoned lot over here. Things that nobody talks about. Well, I can tell you, when I was a kid, there were nobody my age bringing guns to school. That was because basic fundamentals were in place, like spare the rod, spoil the child. When I was a kid, the fucking principal could spank you, and I've gotten spanked by the principal in like third grade. We had a healthy respect for authority. There wasn't this, there was usually two parents in a home back then, because the way things are designed today, you slowly start eroding the balance that God has given us in His book. And that's what this is a strategic removal of biblical truth and the Ten Commandments from, imagine like I created these little fraggles and gave them a list of rules, and they start removing the rules and their whole thing collapses. Well, that's basically what's happened here. So now you have single parents, and you have young men without mentorship, because there's a lot more dads leaving for whatever reason, like mine. And that's something all young kids need. It's hard for a single parent to be working a job and a half, paying the rent, getting the kids off to school, picking the kids up, getting to their fucking baseball games, all that shit. There's no time for mentorship. You're trying to keep the lights on. So all of this shit was put in place by these Freemasons and Luciferians and the United Nations and all of that, to slowly get the Bible out of the school. Well, we got it out there. So how are things going now? Well, it doesn't look too good. You know what I mean? I don't think I don't want to get into gun problems or gun legislation or, blah, 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 because I don't believe that there's a gun problem. Guns aren't magically waking up in the morning and shooting people. It's a mentally, a mental health issue. Completely separate video. You have kids playing video games that are realistic. Kids don't, the thing is kids today, they don't fight. So they have no, like they don't know what it's like to get punched in the face. So they definitely don't know what it's like when they see people getting shot on video games and on TV and in movies and shit. You gotta know that shit desensitizes people. You know what I mean? You see, and then you're hearing it in the music and the this and the that, and after a while it's like, and then you're young, you're impressionable, you're trying to build up, whatever, you're trying to fit in. You don't have a dad, you don't have a mom or whatever. You're hurting inside. You're looking for an outlet. There's no positivity in your community, white or black. Then you throw in the parents could be doing drugs, or the mom's a prostitute, or the dad's selling crack, or it's hard for me to imagine, because my mom was a fucking saint for the most part. Sometimes both parents are fucking losers. You can't stop losers. You can't stop losers from having kids, and they might not have been losers before, but people give up their children for drugs. People sell their children for drugs, but it all stems from a lack of biblical perspective. Let's just say there wasn't a God, which is unequivocally false, and there were 10 rules, okay? 10 commandments, 10 rules, 10 things to go by, whatever. Just anybody that looks at those 10 rules and says, yeah, I got a fucking problem with that, you know, I don't, well, that person, to me, wouldn't be somebody I'd want to be around. And there's no justifiable anything for any reason to go against. Thou shalt not kill. You know, yeah, self-defense, you know. The Bible says eye for an eye, which means there is no, you know, death row. There is no life in prison. Talks about harming a child. If you harm a child, it would be better for you to hang a millstone around your neck and get thrown into the ocean. You know what I mean? There is no, and if you ever harm one of these little ones, the Bible talks about there is no rehabilitation. It talks about in the Bible about this stuff. So what we're trying to do is we're trying to liberalize some bullshit that can't be liberalized. You know, we're trying to sexualize children. We're trying to do this. We're trying to do that. It all stems from a lack of a biblical perspective and a non-biblical shift. We're letting Babylon, the world, come in, make its rules, and look what's happened, you know? Rebellion, the spirit of rebellion, confusion, lies. The devil is the father of lies, you know? People are believing the media, believing the news. People think that this president's gonna help you, or that president, or this fucking... And it says in the Bible, trust no man. The Bible has so many crucial things in there that would help you day to day. That's why the world doesn't want you to read it, because they don't want you to figure out that A, you can pray to God, He is real, He will hear you, and He will answer you. And they don't want you to unlock that, because they want to keep you in this little pretend simulation. They want you to think it's a simulation.